What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the Televised Podcast. My name is Anna, and today we're going to be talking all about Batwoman 1x17, titled A Narrow Escape. I'm pretty excited about this because this is the first time that I've ever done a Batwoman only recap / review / whatever. And yeah, so I'm kind of excited about it. Excited to kind of dive a bit deeper into Batwoman because this episode was really, really good. I think this might be one of my favorites of the season. I know I say that literally all the time, but I actually mean it this time. It has it's really rewatchable because some of the episodes I get too grossed out by and I just don't want to rewatch them because I'm such a baby. But this one was it was pretty tame in terms of gross stuff. So I really enjoyed that. I thought that made it pretty rewatchable, pretty consumable. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. And I hope you guys enjoy this. I know this is normally mostly a Supergirl podcast, but since Supergirl did not come back this week, they come back next Sunday. I just wanted to talk about Batwoman a little bit because I know that a lot of you all also just love Batwoman, and same. So with that being said, next week I will have a Supergirl recap. It'll be like normal where I'll talk about Batwoman and then I'll talk about Supergirl. I'm really excited. It's going to be Melissa's directorial debut, so I hope everyone tunes in and streams, and we'll probably try to get something trending maybe. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. Hopefully you're coping well with everything that's happening. And let's just get into this. So the episode starts in a very cruel and unusual way, which is not it's not graphic, it's not torturous, it's just cruel. Because obviously at the end of the episode before this, if we can remember 6 weeks ago, obviously Kate left Alice in Arkham and totally, just betrayed her for the millionth and a half time. And so this week we start off with Kate and Alice, and they're hanging out and they're playing video games in Kate's apartment, and there's cute indie music in the background, and it's really upsetting. It's really cruel. It's just oh my God, because this is what could have been if Kate was just a little nicer. I mean, I get it. Alice has killed people, but you know what? So is Kate. So we're even now, girl. Let's hang out. Oh my God. But anyway, so the lights start to flicker in the room, and Kate is not bothered by it because what we're about to find out is she is just a figment of Alice's imagination. She is the Kate that Alice kind of wishes existed, which is really sad. And so the lights keep flickering, and she's well, this is not real. I know that this isn't real. But before she kind of figures that out, she says to Kate, she's thank you for never giving up on me, which of course we all know that her Kate gave up on her 6 episodes ago when or maybe not 6 episodes ago, however many episodes ago it was, that she was gonna let her die to let Beth live, which was really upsetting. But Kate replies, "You're worth it." And then Alice that's when she figures out, she's shit, this is not real. This is not, my Kate would never say that. And basically she's let me stay here, let me just live, please. Can I just live in this reality? And of course, it's so upsetting. Rachel Skarsten does such an amazing job upsetting me every single time I watch this show. It's what she's good at. But then, so Alice is having issues. She's got issues. She's been having she's having these panic attacks, and it comes as a result of PTSD after killing Cartwright. She feels that she's not a hero. She feels like a fraud, and being in the bat suit gives her panic and anxiety. So she almost loses it when she thinks that she just killed another man on accident. So like her biggest fear is not only what she has done, like that she's horrified with herself with, but also what she might do now in the future, because she's scared that she won't be able to like stop herself or whatever from killing somebody again, or maybe she'll just kill somebody on accident. Like she's just messed up right now. And then, so we meet the villain of the week, which is a man called the Detonator, who's been away for 7 years and basically ties bombs to heroes, quote unquote, and makes them choose between saving themselves while blowing up a building or letting themselves be blown up. It's a really like classic, makes me think of like Criminal Minds kind of villain, It's a really interesting concept though, and it's funny because the first guy that they use, he literally has like 23 minutes left on his thing. He doesn't even let the tape recorder finish telling him like what's going on before he presses the button to save his own ass. And it's like, and then we hear Rachel Maddow. Oh no, what's her character's name? I don't remember. They don't say Rachel Maddow's name enough, like her character's name enough. But we hear her say, she's like, yeah, he didn't even let it tick down. Like he was just like, I'm saving myself, guys. Like it's me or nothing, which was really funny. So Kate, we find out there's like a time skip. So we find out that Kate has been away for a week. She hasn't shown up as Batwoman for an entire week. And now people are out cosplaying as Batwoman and trying to save people. And Mary, like this Batwoman cosplayer, basically shows up at Mary's clinic with a bunch of broken ribs because she's trying to be a hero. And Mary's like, what the hell, man? Like, is another one? So, like, confirming that people have just been coming in there dressed as Batwoman with broken ribs and terrible injuries. Yeah, it was just like a really funny scene, especially when Mary like literally cut through her bat suit and she's like, stop, this took me so long to make. And Mary's like, listen, if I can take a pair of scissors and cut through your bat suit, I don't think it counts. I don't think it counts as a bat suit. I don't think it counts as a super suit. I think you need to invest in some better fabric. Yeah, so while Kate has been away, or while Batwoman has been away, Kate has been just like hanging out in her apartment. Julia busts in. She's like, oh my god, I left you here literally a week ago. A week ago! Oh my god. And she's like, it smells like I left you here a week ago. And basically she says to Kate, she's like, listen, you just need to get over it. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man, but it's like the greater good out there and you're not protecting the greater good. And she's like, literally just like, get over it. And Kate's like, well, thank you for that wonderful advice from you, Julia. And so then we cut to Arkham, back to Arkham, and Alice and Mouse are hanging out in a therapy circle at Arkham, and Alice is basically like, look, I'm crazy. I promise you I'm crazy, but I am not this crazy. I am not this crazy. Like, because she's looking around and it's like Batwoman greatest hits, like Magpie's in there, Tommy Elliott's in there, there's like this guy that I guess drools all over the place, he's in there. Mouse is just confessing all of his childhood trauma to this therapy group. There's this woman who thinks she's a cat. Like, Alice is like, I cannot live like this. I can't be here. This is not gonna work. And it's really funny. So then this episode jumps around a lot, so I do apologize for maybe sounding convoluted, but I am going in chronological order because I just rewatched the episode. Sophie and Julia are partners on this thing that they're doing. They're still partners. They're working together to try and figure out what is happening with the cover-up of Luke's dad's murder. And they're trying to figure out who paid off the sniper to kill Reggie, who was gunned down right in front of Luke, if you remember, and just all that kind of stuff. Like, they're trying to figure it out. And basically what happens is that guy who detonated the bomb, he blew up the bank. And of course, the bank was the connection to find out who paid off the sniper. So they're like, well, shit, like, maybe they're kind of like maybe tossing around the idea that it's not the actual detonator, but they're not quite there yet. But they are sharing food and they are being flirty, and I appreciate that. So Luke, during this episode, is going through it. Like, he is going through it. He's not doing okay. And his relationship with Kate right now is super duper strained because of the secrets that they're keeping between them and the lack of communication. And I think also just the fact that Kate has not been around for a week, apparently. And he's like, listen, the bat signal has gone unanswered. And that is not cool, Kate. You're Batwoman now. Like, you need to get it together. So during this, they're kind of trying to figure out who the bomber is, if he's really the detonator or whatever. So basically they like clearly give us the answer to who it is by focusing on this one specific crow during this whole entire scene. And they also have him speak in this scene, and it's just like painfully obvious that he's our guy. And like, he's basically like, this info wasn't released to the public, so it's an original. Or it's you, like, you know about it, like, like, that was my, like, when I was watching the episode, I was like, this guy is literally it, like, this is the guy, and I was right, it was the guy. But I do love, and I think they've done this before too, when they kind of intercut the crows and Luke, like, briefing like the crows and Batwoman on the villain. I love when they do that because I think it's so funny, because it's like they clearly have the same information, and they're not gonna work together because, you know, they're obviously, you know, at odds or whatever, for, you know, because Jacob hates vigilantes or whatever. And it's like, but, you know, you guys could have like worked together and had all the answers, but that's okay. Oh, also, so there's these like numbers on the bomb, and it's 214, and Kate basically says, did anyone ever figure out like what these numbers mean? And, you know, maybe I have the answer, because she's like, has anyone on that list been associated with military things? And Luke is like, yeah, this one guy. And so Kate's like, well, that's our guy, because these are the numbers that are on discharge papers from either like military school or the army or whatever. And Kate's like, yeah, so I know that because that's what's on my army papers that I was discharged from military school. And Luke is like, I love the irony of this moment where, you know, they kicked her out of military school, but then that ends up being the thing that like helps her save the city. It was a cool moment. Okay, so then we're back at Arkham with Alice, and she's just like strutting around Arkham, just chilling. I don't know, I guess they let you go for like long meandering walks around Arkham. And she passes Tommy Elliott and taunts him about his boyfriend Bruce, and then she gets stabbed, but she ends up like taking his knife and snaps at him the way that she did at Sophie, which was so cool. I love that she kind of like continued that, because Rachel at HomeCon said that was not even like a part of the scene. It was like, you know, in, God, what episode is that? Back when Sophie was interrogating Alice in the beginning of the season, and she like snaps her teeth at her. Rachel at HomeCon said that wasn't even like planned. That was just like a little like improvised thing that she did at the moment to kind of make Megan Tandy break, because I guess that had been like later and later takes, but they ended up using it because it was great and it was awesome. And so I love that she brought it back for that moment with Tommy. Like, that was so cool. And also that scene just made me think of the meme where it's like stabbing victim, quote from Stabbing Victim, what are you gonna do, stab me? Like, that's what that moment felt like. So now we're back with Kate, and she decides she's going to go off and be realtor Kate Kane and not Batwoman because she can't physically put on the suit because it makes her so anxious. So she goes to find this guy who they figured out probably should be the detonator, and she gets confirmation that he is in fact dead because his son is the one who answers the door, and he's like, yeah, the detonator was my dad, but he's dead. And it's so funny because Kate is like, she's trying to just be like a regular real estate agent, like whatever. Oh, I'm here with Gotham Pride Real Estate. Like, I'm here to take pictures of your unit. And then she like punches him in the face and grabs him by the throat. And I'm like, Kate, he could tell anybody about that. Like, he could be like, yeah, Kate Kane assaulted me in my home. Kate, oh my God. While they just figured out that the original detonator is dead, another man winds up in his car with a bomb, and he calls the Crows this time. He's like, hey, I'm not risking it, and I'm not just going to push this button either. I need y'all to help me. And so he decides to wait for Jacob to show up on the scene to help him out, while the Crows decide to basically evacuate the 1 mile radius where the bomb should be. And of course, Mary's clinic falls within the lines of this 1 mile radius, and they're trying to evacuate the whole time, but she's a hero because Mary Hamilton is absolutely a hero because she's getting all these people out of the clinic, but there are people in her clinic that are so injured or so sick or so whatever that they just can't be moved. They should not be moved. They can't be moved. And basically she enlists the help of the Batwoman cosplayer to get people on the floor with mattresses over them, and she's like, let's just hope for the best, basically. So the bomb goes off, and of course it's right next to Mary's building, which makes me happy because they didn't destroy her building. But it still wasn't good because the windows blew in. But Kate had been there, so she showed up to Mary's building because she heard Luke told her through the comms that, of course, Mary's building was in this radius of, bomb threat. And so Kate showed up, but she runs in after the bomb goes off, and she sees the Batwoman cosplayer injured on the ground, and she's like, who's this? And Mary's like, can't you tell? It's Batwoman. And, Mary obviously is pulling so hard on Kate right now, just trying to snap her out of it, to make her realize something, that she should trust her, and that maybe she shouldn't have gone away for that week because it encouraged all these crazy people to go and run around and be Batwoman and risk their own lives trying to keep hope alive in the city. Meanwhile, Kate is at home, suffering in her own silence, whatever. But upon seeing the Batwoman cosplayer, Kate has a panic attack again. So she kind of runs out into the hallway. She's like, I gotta go, actually. And Mary follows her out, and she gives the best speech in the whole entire season of Batwoman. It's one of my favorite scenes, I think, of the whole series, where she basically says, please, Kate, I know you're Batwoman. And she's gives this long speech about how Batwoman is obviously the person who she's looked up to for her whole life. Of course, Batwoman is the one who beat up this boy for her. Of course, Batwoman is the one who taught her how to drive even when she didn't have a license because gays can't drive. And of course, Batwoman is the person who's running around, being a hero because Kate, Mary's I believe that Kate Kane is a hero. Kate's been a hero my whole life to me. And it's just so good. And then Kate's like, Mary, you don't understand. I'm not a hero. And Mary's like, listen, I'm not asking you to be a hero at all. I'm just asking you to keep going. Which hit so different now that we're here today in the climate that we're in today. But it just it was just so good. Nicole Kang does such an amazing job with Mary, and that was such an emotional scene. And it was such a big monologue that I can't imagine, how not only just difficult it was emotionally, but also just like, because it was so earnest that I felt like the kind of thing that you had to get every single line exactly right, because it just felt so earnest and so real and so personal. And I just applaud Nicole Kang for everything she does, and especially that scene, because seriously, I think it's going to go down, at least for me, as one of my favorite scenes in Batwoman, probably for the rest of the entire series, just because it I think for me, it cemented how, like the kind of hero that Kate is, and the kind of person that Kate is, and the kind of impact that she not only has as Batwoman, but obviously the impact she has as Kate Kane. And it just kind of like struck to the core of her character. So I think that was kind of like a really pivotal moment, just like for Kate Kane as a character. So I loved it. Man, Batwoman just is so good. Like, oh my god, y'all. I don't know how they're gonna top this first season that they did. I hope. I mean, I have so much faith in Caroline Dries? How do you say her last name? I don't know. I have so much faith in her and in what she brings to this story and in what she's been doing, because she's obviously knows what she's doing. She knows the story that she's telling, and she's gonna tell it in literally the best way possible, because she's incredible. But I'm also like, damn, how are they gonna top this first season? Because I mean, everyone knows how I feel about Supergirl, about how I think season 1 was kind of like the penultimate season for them. Like it's still a standout in my mind as one of their best season. Like, it was so good as like a little, kind of like campy fledgling show, which obviously Batwoman is much different. It feels different, obviously, to Supergirl season 1, but also kind of the same. And like, they're creating this show from the ground up, with this character, and really making it their own, and putting so much incredible work into characters and character development and stuff. It's just so good. And I don't know how they're going to top it. But I mean, obviously, I have all the faith in Batwoman writers and creatives and everything. So I just am really excited to see where we go in season 2, especially, and I know I'm so off the rails here. I promise we'll get back on the rails in like a hot second. But especially since they didn't get to do the finale that they wanted to do. So I have to wonder like what they're going to do with those scripts. Like if they're going to try and put them into the next season. Like who knows? Because it's so much is up in the air right now, obviously. Like I have no idea. So we'll see. But then, so now we're back at Arkham, and Alice had given Mouse the knife that she stole from Tommy Elliott. It's like a shank. It's not really a knife. It's like a shank. And so she gives it to him, and she's like, all right, well, you know what to do, my guy. Like, let's go. Let's get the show on the road. And so he stabs the doctor guy who was torturing them, and he assumes his identity, which some of the like face stuff, it's so hard to suspend disbelief with the face stuff, because it's like, well, dude, you've been like, Alice is like, it's incredible what I can do with like a little needle and some thread. I'm like, but where did you get the skin? Well, I guess you just peeled his face off. Ew, gross. Anyway. It's just like, sometimes I'm like, ugh, about the face stuff. I'm always like that about the face stuff, but sometimes it's hard to just suspend disbelief with the face stuff. But anyway, that's beside the point. So then we see Julia, Luke, and Sophie, and they're going over evidence about Luke's father's murder, and they basically find out that every loose end has been either blown up, killed, or paid off in some way. And they're like, okay, we need to figure out what's going on. So they figure out, they know for sure now that the bomber is a copycat. But they also know that no one in the public could have known that signature the 214 because they never released it, like the Crow pointed out earlier. Thanks, guy, for incriminating yourself, to me at least. And so they're like, oh my god, it's this Robles guy, like it must be him because he was the lead he was like the lead cop or whatever on the case originally. So then we find out, so obviously now we know that it is this Robles guy. So he bonks Jacob Kane in the back of the head. He rolls down the stairs. Everybody's just falling down the stairs this episode. So Jacob rolls down the stairs and he gets tied up and bombed, he gets strapped up with some bombs. And so of course, he's the target this time because of course he's the leader of the Crows, so he's the one that basically everybody's like, he's the one protecting Gotham. Of course he's gonna be tied up next. And then they reveal that the second bomb is actually under Wayne Tower. Oh shit. So Sophie and Julia are with Jacob. Meanwhile, Kate and Luke are at Wayne with the bomber. And Julia, when Kate calls, she actually answers her phone as Tuxedo One. And I love that. I want to know everybody's, pet names. I want pet names. Code names. I want to know everybody's code names. I'm sure that Sophie has a code name. Luke... hopefully Luke... does Luke have a code name? Have we heard Luke's code name before? I don't know. Well, he says, Batcave to, Batwoman. He needs, a cooler code name. And then, Mary needs a code name now because she knows. So she's a part of the Bat fam. She knows she needs a code name. I want everybody to have a code name. I'm so into it. And so then Julia, she says that she got the info of the bomb being under Wayne Tower from, quote, an associate. And she mouths Batwoman behind Jacob's back to Sophie. And Sophie gets so jealous. And she's like, I didn't know you had associates. And then Julie's like, it's just one associate. And it was just so funny. And I love the fact that not only is this a love triangle between Kate, Sophie, and Julia, but to Sophie, it's literally a love square. Because to Kate and Julia, they know that it's just a love triangle. But to Sophie, she believes that it's a love square because she's like, oh my god, not only am I competing with Batwoman, but I'm also competing with Kate for Julia. And Kate loves Sophie, and Kate also kisses Julia, and it's a lot. But I'm so excited because this literally never happens for us. We never, ever, 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 ever get gay love triangles. And they are going to give me what Lost Girl did not. I just hope that they don't kill Julia off in a really unfortunately tragic way. That would be really upsetting to me. So now Kate is at Wayne, obviously. She's trying to get the bomber to disarm the bomb, and he's like, no, I can't. Because the only way to actually disarm it is if we let the other bomb blow up. And Kate's like, well, that's not happening, so you're gonna have to figure this out, my guy. And Luke comes out of the shadows like a badass, and he is ready to get his revenge. And you know what? I would have let him. I understand what Kate did, and obviously it was the right thing to do. I'm jumping the gun here, but I would have let him. Come on, let him get his revenge. He looks so ready for it. So he locks down Wayne Tower. So the blast radius will actually not happen. The explosion won't go beyond Wayne Tower, which will be cool. So Kate is like, hey, I'm gonna go take out my batarang, and Luke's like, stop. You're fast, but you're not that fast. And that was such a good line. It was awesome. So then Robles says that he killed Lucius Fox for Tommy Elliot because he wanted the journal Fox kept, which we find out later had like every single detail for every piece of tech related to Batman, Wayne Tower, like literally basically anything Lucius Fox ever thought up had that in his journal. So Tommy Elliot wanted it, which is pretty obvious because he clearly wanted to kill Batman. So then he says that he was paid to rough him up, but he accidentally killed Lucius because he threatened Luke and Lucius like charged at him and then Robles shot him. And so then there's this cute moment where Julia's like, listen, Sophie, you need to go. You need to leave. I've got it. I'm on comms with Batwoman. And so Sophie's like, I'm not leaving my boss, because I like him now, apparently. And we're on good terms again. And so then Julia's like, well, looks like we're stuck with each other then, which was so flirty again. Here we are again with the flirting. I'm here for it. So then Kate has another panic attack, and she basically just kind of blurts out that she killed Cartwright to Luke. And she talks him off the ledge, which was a really, really cool moment. She says, the world is short on heroes. Don't let your anger turn you into something you're not. And then they finally get out of the garage, and that's about to blow up. And they just barely make it into the Batcave. And they shut the lock, and it blows up. And I was really glad that I rewatched that scene because I could barely focus on what Kate was actually saying to Luke and what they're actually talking about because I was so stressed out about this bomb that was about to go off. And so upon the rewatch, knowing, obviously, I mean, I knew that they weren't going to blow everybody up, but still, you don't know. On the rewatch, it was nice to know that they make it out so I could actually like pay attention to the dialogue that they were saying because I wasn't stressed. So then at the end of the episode, kind of in the wrap up, Sophie rejoins the Crows and becomes a strike team co-leader with Julia. And then they agree to kind of go out on like a little bit of a burger date. I'm here for it. I'm really excited about it. So then Kate is kind of like brooding still Luke is like, listen, why didn't you tell me about Cartwright? And Kate's like, I broke Batman's code, like I didn't want you to know that I was a failure. And Luke is literally like, so you think you're special? Like Bruce broke his own goddamn code. And he tells Kate that Batman killed the Joker, which was such an insane moment for the show because it's like that takes away, you know, this huge villain, which I'm sure they never would have ever gotten to use anyway, thanks to Warner and DC. They would have never let them use the Joker. But it is really cool, and it is such a power move to be like, he's dead. Like, we're just not going to go there. Like, that's a Batman villain. Like, we're telling Batwoman's story, so we're just not going to go there. Because one complaint that I have about Supergirl right now is that Lex Luthor is taking up so much screen time as this annoying-ass character who is very clearly a Superman villain. Like, why don't they use a Supergirl villain? Like, we literally have only had one Supergirl villain from the comics throughout Supergirl, and that was Rain. And so, you know, seeing Lex, it's so frustrating, but I'm so glad that Batwoman was like, you know what? We're not, no, he's dead. He's gone. He's dead. He's not going to show up on our show. That's just how it's going to be. He's not even going to be like, you know, name dropped. Like, oh, haha, like the Joker blew something up. Like, nope, he's dead. He can't blow anything up. He is dead. Which is interesting too, because basically Luke implies that the reason that Bruce is gone is because he's so torn up about killing the Joker. And he just like lets the abyss stare back at him, which is interesting. And I think it's cool that they established that Kate is obviously a very different character, because that's something that came up obviously like in articles and stuff after the episode aired where Kate killed Cartwright, because they're like, oh my God, Batwoman broke Batman's rule, like what is gonna happen now? Like, well, she's not Batman, so it's not, you know, her rule. And, you know, she's an entirely different character with an entirely different set of, maybe not entirely different set of morals, but an entirely different disposition and way that she handles things and stuff. So I think it's interesting, and I love that they established that in the show. Kind of in like one fell swoop. They were like, yeah, she broke Batman's rules, but she can handle it, you know? Like, she can like get through it and pursue still being Batwoman after breaking that rule, whereas Batman cannot. Like, he literally is done because he killed the Joker, you know? So I thought that was really interesting. And then Mary shows up at Wayne Tower, and Luke does his best. He does his darndest to act like Kate is not Batwoman, but Kate's like, listen, I know, dude. I know that she's Batwoman. I know what's going on. I know what's happening. And it was really good. So I'm so glad that Mary knows now. I'm so excited for her to be a part of, like, you know, the Team Bat, the Bat fam. And I'm so excited. I hope she gets to go in the Bat Cave. Oh my God, I'm excited. So then Mouse, we see him as the Doctor. He assumed his identity because Alice made him the Face. And so they decide, instead of, because the original plan was to leave, they were going to leave Arkham, which is interesting. So they're going to leave Arkham, but instead, Alice is like, what if we just hang around? What if we just stuck around? And she basically says, when everyone has forgotten us, we'll remind them who we are, and they'll never, ever forget us again. Which is really, it's a really cool line. But then they play the song, How Villains Are Made, and then, which makes me sad, because I'm the number one Alice Redemption wanter. I'm the number one anti-hero Alice warrior, and I am ready to fight. So I hope that Alice Redemption can still be within the cards for, you know, the show. Everybody seems to speak as if Alice is gonna be in the next season of Batwoman, which I really, really, really hope that she is. That's kind of like my one worry, is that they were going to, well, I mean, because now, obviously, they can't use the last 2 episodes they had planned, so hopefully maybe that nixed an Alice death in that way, because I just don't want her to die. She's such a good character. She's such a good foil for Kate, and I think it could be such a cool and interesting concept to see Alice doing good, but in like a bad way, you know what I mean? Like a Harley Quinn sort of anti-hero, you know, like in Birds of Prey, when she does good things, but she also kills people, and you know, like an anti-hero, you know what I mean? So to have her kind of like have a contrasting relationship with Kate, but I'd also like to see them kind of come together. I would love to see Alice's dreams become a reality with them someday. And hopefully they can. I would love to see that. And then Alice knocks the king piece off of the chess table and replaces it with the queen piece. So she will become the queen of Arkham. And I think it could be really cool, because obviously her Wonderland gang is dead. But if she riles up some really cool villains from Arkham, that could be a very cool squad. But I'm really excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. Obviously, it'll be really interesting to know whether they'll reveal what was supposed to happen at the end of the season, or if they'll keep it pretty tight-lipped. Because I know that, I think Kennedy McMahon did an interview where she talked about what was supposed to happen at the end of Nancy Drew, so that means obviously they're not using any of that in the coming season 2 for Nancy Drew, but who knows in terms of Batwoman and Supergirl, who knows what might happen. I'm really intrigued to see, you know, what's gonna go on behind the scenes with these shows, especially concerning whether they can film for the fall season or not. We'll just have to see. It'll be really interesting. But yeah, so I think that's all I got for today. I loved this episode of Batwoman, and I hope you guys enjoyed my recap / review / me just like making jokes about the show, because that's just kind of what I do. That's what I realized. So hopefully you enjoyed it. It was nice. It was so nice to talk about Batwoman a bit longer this week. And, you know, hopefully, maybe I'll make my segments a little bit longer, but that would make my episodes longer overall. And I always feel like I don't want them to be too long because I don't want to bore everyone to death because it's just me talking. But anyway, so if you liked this episode, please let me know what you thought. Let me know what you thought about Batwoman. Let me know about your theories about Batwoman. Maybe what could possibly be happening. How do you think the season's gonna end? Like, where do you think this will all come to a head? You can tweet me at Televised Pod. Let me know. You can subscribe, rate, like, share, whatever, all the things. And I will see you guys next week.